Let's look at 4 things to consider when trying to calculate how much you can afford to spend on a car. Number 4, how much debt do you have? Anyone who has ever gone car shopping knows that it can be a daunting experience. There are so many factors to consider, from horsepower to fuel efficiency to safety features, but one of the most important things to keep in mind is your budget. After all, you don't want to end up spending more on your car than you can afford. When calculating your budget, one of the things you need to take into account is your debt. The more debt you have, the less money you'll have available to spend on a car. That's why it's important to get a handle on your debt before you start shopping for a new ride. By doing so, you'll be in a better position to find a car that fits both your needs and your budget. Number 3, maintenance fees. Maintenance fees are important to consider when trying to calculate how much you can afford to spend on a car because they can add up quickly. Even if you find a car that's cheap to buy, the cost of maintaining it can quickly eat into your budget. For example, something as simple as an oil change can cost $50 or more if you take it to a mechanic. And if something more major needs to be fixed, the bill can easily be hundreds of dollars. Given that, it's important to factor in the cost of maintenance when trying to figure out how much you can afford to spend on a car. By doing so, you'll be more likely to stay within your budget and avoid any financial surprises down the road. Number 2, fuel. When you're looking at cars, it's important to take fuel efficiency into account. The last thing you want is to end up with a gas guzzler that's going to cost you a fortune to keep on the road. Not only will you be spending more at the pump, but you'll also have a bigger carbon footprint. If you're looking to save money and help the environment, it's worth opting for a car that gets more miles per gallon. With fuel prices always on the rise, you'll be glad you made the investment when you're not shelling out as much money at the pump. So when you're car shopping, don't forget to factor in fuel efficiency. Before I move on to number 1, make sure you subscribe and click the bell. That way you'll be the first to see my next money-making video. Number 1, your income. Take a look at how much money you'll have after taxes. This is how much money you make after taxes are taken out. In general, experts suggest that 10% to 15% of your income should be spent on transportation costs, including automobile insurance and gasoline. If your monthly take-home pay is $5,000, for example, you should spend between $500 and $570 on transportation. This range, given as a guideline, is only intended to assist you. Depending on your earnings and expenses, you may need to budget less than that. For example, if housing in your area is expensive, then you won't have as much money to spend on a car. Click the video on the screen to see another money-making video.